Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is my review for Pretty Little Liars, Season 5, Episode 18, Oh, What Hard Luck Stories They All Hand Me. And this episode, once again, another, as usual, surprise, another great episode. Really, it's always going to be a great episode, but this episode in particular really got me thinking a lot of things. It really changed my mind about a lot of things, and honestly, I have a really weird theory now. It's a very weird theory. I definitely have a new theory about who A could possibly be. If this episode is any indication of that theory becoming possible, I definitely feel like it's plausible what could have happened, but let's just get to it because, I mean, this episode is just pretty crazy, so let's just get into it. So we start off with Spencer, Arya, and Emily chatting outside the cafe, and Spencer dishes on her relationship with Toby, and she thinks that she is tearing him apart. She kind of is, as I said. Her relationship with him is really not in the best of place right now, but it's really because he does not want her to get involved because, of course, you know, she had a criminal record, and he doesn't want her to get arrested again. So obviously, she knows that things aren't really going well between them. Plus, he's starting to talk to her more as just someone he's, you know, working with and trying to prove innocent than his girlfriend. He doesn't even talk to her like she's really his girlfriend anymore. I mean, I'm sure he really does love her, but he's becoming more and more professional with her that I think Spencer is just feeling like they're drifting apart. So they spot Arya's mom standing outside of the police station with Allie's defense team. Apparently, her mom is working with them as a consultant, which I thought was kind of interesting. And Spencer reveals that her mom took the job because she wants to know what they know, like whether or not they will get called to testify when Allie goes to court. Because they don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, if Allie goes to court, it really could be bad for them. Because, I mean, Allie really, as I said, did nothing wrong, and it could really end up terribly for all of them if they all go to court because she did nothing wrong and they put someone innocent in jail and they don't even realize it. So it definitely could end badly for them. So Spencer runs off to talk to Hannah, who she begs her to let her fix their fight. Hannah tells her to stop. She knows now that Spencer was right. She apologized for panicking, trying to get the things out of the storage locker. While they are talking, they see Holbrooke pull up to the police station, and they don't understand what he's doing back here because that was weird to see. I mean, Holbrooke just randomly coming back was definitely very suspicious because honestly, literally, he just randomly came back. He didn't have any explanation, and there was something I remembered about Detective Holbrooke and Allie, is that if you remember in the first episode, Allie was very nervous about talking to Detective Holbrooke. She didn't want to talk to him, she didn't want to see him, and it now makes me think that there's definitely something that she's hiding about her and Detective Holbrooke's relationship. I do think that these two were in a relationship. I don't think they're still in one. I think that something happened between them, and that's why Holbrooke went away. So they don't understand what he's doing back after all this time, and he stops and talks to Spencer's mom, and the liars head inside the cafe to discuss Holbrooke, and they think that he's A, and honestly, it's plausible that he could be A, because, I mean, him just coming back out of nowhere when the liars are at their worst point, kind of suspicious there. I mean, just a little bit suspicious, and, I think that definitely he could be A. I mean, before I was like, no, there's no way. But then I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I mean, after this episode where he just randomly came back and he had a lot of anger issues in this episode as well, I thought, you know what? It's possible. It really is possible that he could be A. And I think that it's a lot more possible than Allie. Definitely a lot more possible than that. Because we know for sure that certain that Allie's not A. So they think that he's doing Allie's dirty work while she's in jail. That's basically what they think he's doing. Now, they're afraid that the closer they get to Allie's trial, the more dangerous and desperate Allie and Holbrooke are going to get. Now, as I said before, I think Holbrooke framed Allie, and I think it could be for a lot of reasons. I think maybe they broke up or something happened between them, but I definitely feel like he did this as an act of revenge because she did something to him. I don't know what Allie did to him, but I definitely feel like he turned against Allie. He wants to make Allie look like the bad one, and that's why Allie is suddenly being accused of all these things. That's why they're accusing Allie, because his attempt to get her in jail successfully works. So I think that's really what's going on there. I don't know, but I think that's what's going on. And this is a show where it's really hard to understand things, but I try to understand what's going on. So they're afraid that the closer they get to Allie's trial, the more dangerous and desperate Allie and Holbrooke are going to get. And Spencer spots her new neighbor at the coffee shop. Apparently, Ezra hired him. Spencer gets very close with her new neighbor, John. And I gotta say, I'm really enjoying John's character. I think he's a very fun character. Jonny, that's his name, Jonny. I'm really enjoying Johnny's character. I think he's a very fun character. I like the relationship. It's something a little bit different than Spencer and Toby, because Toby's so, like, professional now, and Jonny kind of is basically kind of just telling her to live her own life, which I like seeing with Jonny. So Ezra hired him to build something for the cafe, and he asked Spencer if she wants to help him, but she says that she's busy. So Emily heads inside and sees the chef that Ezra hired, and she asks her why she didn't come to work yesterday. Of course, she wants to know what's going on with Tahlia, and you can tell that we know that now Tahlia has feelings for her, and Emily it's very awkward between them right now, because Emily's at this point where she wants to move on, but at the same point, she doesn't want to move on. So it's very awkward between them. So she asked her why she didn't come to work yesterday, and she says that she wasn't sick, she just had to take care of something. And meanwhile, Hannah, Spencer, and Ari are panicking because the police called Caleb about being at the storage unit, and this girl shows up at the cafe named Leslie, and she says she wants to talk to Hannah. Apparently, she was friends with Mona, and I don't know about this. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I really do. I mean, this girl just shows up out of nowhere after Mona's death. Kind of suspicious to me. And, I don't know. This is a very weird theory, but I kind of feel like it was Cece in disguise. I really do. I mean, she has the black thing. We know that Cece has the black wig. We know that Cece was impersonating to be Vivian, Allie's alter ego. So, it very well could have just been Cece in a wig. I don't know. It's a little bit out there, but it's very well possible. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with some theories, and if they're really out there, that's because of how complicated the show can be, but I love that about the show. So Leslie sits down with the liars and reveals that she met Mona a couple of summers ago at her grandparents' house. She's in town for the weekend to support Mona's mom, and since Allie's trial is coming up, she just wanted to meet them and thank them for taking care of Mona's mom when she was killed. Definitely them mentioning Allie's trial definitely makes me think that the season finale is going to be Allie's trial, and them realizing, holy shit, Allie is innocent. They're going to realize that, and then I think what's going to happen is they're going to realize that in the season finale, but it's going to be too late because someone's going to die. I definitely feel like that's going to happen, but Spencer is not buying it. She thinks that Leslie's a fraud, and I like that about Spencer. That's what I've always liked about Spencer, that she's very smart, and she knows when things are, fishy. So Spencer tells her to go talk to Mona's mom and see if she is the real deal. After she goes to the police station, Spencer gets off the phone, sees her mom's briefcase lying on the counter. She opens and snaps a few photos of the files inside about Allie's case. Spencer's mom comes inside, and Spencer tries to ask her about Holbrooke, and her mom doesn't want to discuss it for whatever reason. She wants to discuss college, because she found all Spencer's acceptance letters that she threw away, and Spencer explains that she isn't sure she wants to go to college anymore. And her mom's, snapping her, saying college is not an option, but honestly, I can see why Spencer doesn't want to go to college. First of all, with all the drama they're in, it might be better for her not to go to college, because A is going to follow her, obviously. So if she went to college, A is going to follow her. If she's doing this because she wants to stay off of A's back, then that's not good. But if she's doing this because she wants to live her own life and wants to be more independent and just doesn't really want to go to college, then fine. I don't see a problem with that, really. If she does not want to go to college, I don't see a problem. I really don't. A lot of people don't go to college, and they are still successful. I mean, me personally, after high school, yeah, I probably will go to college, but there are people that aren't going to go to college, and they'll still be successful. And I think for Spencer, she should be one of those people that doesn't get into college. I mean, if she doesn't want to go to college, then she doesn't have to. Just because you were accepted doesn't mean you have to go to college, which I like this episode touched upon. So, Hannah and Caleb are staying at the police station, want to be interviewed, and Hannah's mom is on the way, and Hannah whines she's scared that the cops have videos of them at the storage locker, because obviously that's very dangerous information that could put Hannah in jail. As I said, I think Hannah's going to end up in jail. I really do. Because, Spencer almost ended up in jail. I definitely feel like Hannah's the next target. They hear arguing, and Holbrooke storms out of an office, starts slamming his desk around, grabs a box of his office, stomps out of the police station, and that was just like, Holbrooke, this is a different side of Holbrooke we've never seen before, and it's very suspicious. Definitely, what's going on with Holbrooke in this episode is so suspicious. I mean, we've never seen this side of Holbrooke before. So, definitely that made me think he could possibly be A. So, Spencer pays Ari a visit. She reveals she saw a copy of Allie's visitor log in her mom's file, and she shows Ari a picture of that file, and reveals that her own brother, Mike, has been going to the prison to visit Allie, and that's huge when we found that out. I mean, just to know that really makes me think that Mike is A, because we know that these messages that Allie have been getting, they have not been good messages. They have been bad messages, they have been things that have scared her, and now I think that Mike is A. Now, here's my theory, and you guys are going to be like, what? But honestly, this makes a lot of sense. What I think is going on is that Mona was A at one point, and honestly, I feel like Mona purposely killed herself so that way she could frame. This is a very weird theory, but I think this is really what's going on. If we all remember, Mona was against Allie, and she made that whole group to go against that. You know, her, Sydney, and who, now I can't remember her name. Jenna. Her, Sydney, and Jenna. That was the group she made. They were there to go after Allie. They never really did that. So what I think happened is that she did this to frame Allie and is making Mike basically be A to finish off her job. I think Mona was A, but Mike is now A because she wanted Mike to finish off her job. It's a very weird and fucked up theory, but honestly it makes a lot of sense, and if you really think about it, I could definitely see Mike possibly being A. I definitely do. But as I said, I really do feel like A is a team. I feel like Bethany Young's also in there somewhere. Definitely I feel like Bethany Young's twin is involved. I don't know, but there's a lot to discuss there. So Hannah heads to the cafe, tells Emily that Holbrooke got suspended from the police force for inappropriate conduct, which makes sense. I mean, what he did was pretty insane. So Hannah leaves, and Emily calls Ari and Spencer to tell them about Holbrooke, and Hannah heads to Mona's house, and the girl Leslie is there in her room. And Hannah really wants to see if this girl really did know Leslie. And one of the things I like about Hannah's not a smart character. She's not a smart character usually. She comes up with dumb ideas. That's usually what her character's there for. However, she actually had some pretty good things to do in this episode, which I like seeing, because she is onto her. She wants to make sure this girl is legitimately knew Mona. She wants to know, and she doesn't really know if she did. So obviously, she's going to try to, see if she actually knew her. So she would know that their friendships were much more complicated than just going to the mall. So Leslie says she knows about the real Mona, that was what she was like about her. She was always thinking. And Hannah sees a flashback of Mona sitting in her room. And I like seeing this because it shows how Mona was in her and Hannah's friendship. So she's reading an excerpt out of a horror book, and Mona tells Hannah that she has 3 wishes and asks her what she would wish for. Hannah won't make any wishes, but Mona wishes she could stop and freeze time so that she could control people. And, again, I think that all goes back to framing Allie. I really do. I mean, every scene we're seeing with Mona now, I'm going to be, anytime we see a flashback of Mona, I'm going to be studying it very carefully to see if really it could be possible that Mona was A and now Mike's A. It's very well possible, and I definitely feel like it's plausible. It really is. So Hannah and Leslie head to the brew, and Leslie's carrying a book from inside of Mona's room. Mike sees them walk in, spots the book, freaks out on them, gets a little violent, yells that they can't just take Mona's stuff out of her room, and obviously Mike is very upset about this, and Hannah tries to calm down, reassures him that they will put the book back, and after Mike stares off, Leslie reveals to Hannah that she was talking to Mona right before she was killed on the phone, and an angry guy screamed at her to get off the phone and talk to him, and Hannah is shocked that when Leslie insists the guy was Mike. So this really makes me think that Mike is A, but here's my theory, is that this was all staged, that Mona staged this whole thing. I mean, we all know that Mona is a very good actress. We know that Mona can act stuff out very well. We know that she can lie very easily. We know this stuff. So Mona, naturally, she could have lied about it. She could have faked her death. I mean, honestly, do I think she's dead? Yeah, I think she's dead. I think Mona is dead, but I think that somebody killed her and made it look like Allie killed her to frame her, and really she wasn't, she was murdered by Mike because she wanted Mike to kill her so that way she could frame Allie. I think that's really what this whole thing was about. It was all about framing Allie. It's really what it seemed like to me, at least. So Hannah visits Ari and is annoyed when Arya says she still didn't ask Mike about visiting Allie in prison, and Hannah fills Arya in on what Leslie said. And meanwhile, inside the cafe, Spencer's visiting Jonny, and he's still working on his project and still won't tell her what it is. She picks up his diagram and realizes that he drew on the back of Allie's missing poster, and he's intrigued by Allie, and he says she has a nice smile, and he asks, how do you go from that to sitting in jail for killing someone? And that's really, that definitely is a very interesting thing that he said. I mean, really, if you think about it, again, Allie didn't do anything. Allie didn't do anything wrong. The only thing that she did was slap Mona in that whole fight and everything. But that was only because Mona was annoying her and she was bullying her and everything, and that's why Allie did it. So I kind of like where Jonny's getting with this. He's kind of telling Spencer, you know what, you should take a second look at this, definitely. Now, at this point, they don't really want to take a second look. But I like what Jonny's saying, because I think in the back of Jonny's mind, he's saying, you know what, how could she really do this? How could it really be Allie that did this? It really does not seem plausible, and I like seeing Jonny think about that. So back at Mona's house, Hannah has another flashback. She and Mona are lying in bed together. She asks Mona if Allie came back in disguise, would they be able to recognize her? Mona snaps that even if Allie does come back, no one would recognize her or care about her. So Allie would go crazy and snap and wind up in Radley forever. And Hannah picks up the book that Mike flipped out over and realizes that it's not just a book. She pulls on the binding, a cassette tape falls out. Hannah rushes to her car, takes the tape with her. Little does she know someone is following her. And that's pretty insane when that happened. That scene was pretty crazy. And that cassette tape, I was like, definitely, I think my theory is coming true. I definitely do. So Aria's sitting in her room, and she hears a noise. It's Mike getting ready to leave. She decides to follow him. Hannah meets up with Caleb, and they play the tape. It's from Radley. It's Bethany ranting about Allie. They decide to play the tape from the beginning, and I like seeing this because it was interesting to see. I mean, we really haven't gotten to see much from Bethany other than, Bethany other than Bethany mentioning Bethany, we haven't really heard what Bethany sounds like. All we've heard about is, Bethany and the history of Bethany So it's interesting to see an actual cassette tape and hear Bethany because I definitely feel like, as I said, I feel like Bethany twin is still out there. I do. And there's kind of a part of me that feels like her twin could be Cece. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm trying to think of logical things here. There's so much going on that I'm thinking of different theories, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, it could be possible. So Aria follows Mike down to a pond. He's standing on the dock in the dark, and he takes something out of his pocket and then leaves it on the dock. By the way, there's one scene with Mike in this episode that makes me very suspicious, because there's a scene where Mike is watching this movie. Very intense, very violent movie. Not something I think that a normal person would watch. Something that totally Mona would recommend to him, and Mona did recommend this movie to him, which he tells Aria about, and it really makes me think that he could possibly be A. The lines he said there, yeah, it definitely could be possible. So he takes something out of his pocket and leaves it on the dock, walks away. Ari sneaks out the dock after he leaves to investigate. It's just a Ziploc bag full of gumdrops, and she turns to leave, and Mike is standing there. She's totally busted, and Mike demands to know why Aria followed him. And Ari demands to know why he has been visiting Allie in jail, and she yells at him not to go back there again. Mike snaps her and says he isn't taking orders from anyone, sneers, "Be careful going home through the woods," and storms off. And if that does not make them suspicious, I don't know what will, because they should definitely be worried about Mike now. Mike's always had problems. Mike has always had problems, we've known this, but this is by far the most crazy we've ever seen Mike. Literally, he just told Ari, I don't care, be careful walking home through the woods, I don't care if you die. Literally, that's what he said to her. He said, if you want to walk through the woods by yourself, go ahead, I don't care if you die. That's basically what he said to her. So at home, Spencer's mom receives a phone call from one of Allie's lawyers, and she explains to Spencer that there has been a leak from the prosecutor's office, and they were tracing the drops of blood they found on the floor of the storage locker, and it's not Mona's blood. It's Allie's. What? What? I don't understand that at all. How can it be Allie's blood? That doesn't make any sense. Now, does that go into the whole Allie's twin thing? No, because they said they're not doing that this season. So I don't know how that's possible, other than maybe there was like a fight or something. Maybe Mona could possibly be alive. I don't know. But honestly, I don't think it's Allie's blood. Whose blood I think it is? Cece, Bethany Young's twin. I mean, they have no evidence to prove that it's Allie's. They don't. There has been a leak from the prosecutor's office, but they have no evidence to prove it. So honestly, it could be any of the people on the show. It could definitely be Bethany Young. It could definitely be Cece. It could be either of those people. So I don't think that it's Allie's blood. I really don't, because I don't think Allie would do something that stupid to just put her blood in there. Allie is definitely not dead. Allie is not dead. We know she's not. We know that she's in prison. We know that Mike is seeing her. She's clearly not dead. So, I mean, she's not dead. We know she's not dead. So Hannah's driving home in the dark, gets pulled over by a cop, and it's Holbrooke. He grabs her by her arm when she gets out of the car. She demands to know why he's pulling her over, and this right here, I'm just like, what the hell is going on with you, Holbrooke? Holbrooke sneers at her, how does a girl like Allison become like Allie, and he says, I'm finished because of her, and that really makes me think something is going on with him and Allie. Clearly, Allie did something to him. I don't know what it was, but something happened between him and Allie, and this is his revenge mission. His revenge mission is to make her look like the one that, killed Mona. That's his mission here, and it really seems like a plausible theory. It really does. Again, as crazy as it sounds, it's plausible. It is, guys. It really is. So, Holbrooke says that basically he was locked in a hotel room the last few days with someone from Internal Affairs. He tries to kiss Hannah, just hits him with a tire iron, hops back in his car, and leaves. And that was insane. That is by far the craziest scene we've ever seen with Holbrooke. Holbrooke seemed like the nicest guy in Season 4. Literally, I wanted him and Hannah together in Season 4. I loved them in Season 4. Now, he is a straight-out psychopath. I don't know what has happened, but clearly, I think he's been this way all along. I think he's been playing all of them. I think that he has planned to get his revenge on Allie all this time, and honestly, I think that the whole tiff, whatever happened between them, their whole fight, I think it happened years ago. I really do. I think the only reason that they were at that party is because that's not Allie that he was with. It was Cece or Bethany Young. I think that's really what it was. That he wasn't with Allie. He was with Cece or Bethany Young, because if he was with Allie, then he would not be trying to get revenge on her right now. So, honestly, if you connect the dots and you think about it, who came into their life first? Why did Detective Holbrooke come into their lives? It was all about Allie. And also, Detective Holbrooke knows that, he specifically said Mona Vanderwall was murdered. However, again, I don't think she was actually murdered. I think he was in on it. I think he wants people to think that she was murdered, because there's no video, there's no evidence other than the fact that he says that she was murdered. And I definitely feel like Mona staged it now. I really do. And it's a pretty crazy theory, but I think she staged it. And basically, that was a pretty crazy scene. So Emily's at the brew making out Emily's at the brew, and her and Tahlia are talking, and they make out, basically. They end up making out, and officially, she has officially moved on from Paige. She's had that very difficult stage of moving on from Paige, and now she's officially moved on from her. Honestly, I like them together. I like seeing Tahlia and Emily together, and I think Tahlia is someone that can be trusted. My problem is everyone that Emily gets with either dies or somehow doesn't agree with her. Paige, I never liked. I never liked Paige and Emily. I'm going to be honest. I never liked them. I never did. I never liked Paige. And that might be because I really liked Emily and Maya when they first were together. But I like this new girl, Tahlia. I think she's a nice girl. I think she's good for Emily. And I like that she's, telling her to move on and to, think more about things. And that's one of the things I like about the new characters this season. They seem to be smarter than the main characters. Not that the main characters aren't smart, but they seem to be the smartest characters on the show. Jonny honestly might just be the most smartest out of all of them. Also, there's one other thing I want to talk about Spencer that is not in this recap, but I do want to talk about. Spencer talked to her mom about possibly not going to college, and I like what she told her mom. She told her mom, you never went to college, and you never were, you didn't want to be a lawyer, so how'd that make you feel? She does not want to end up the same way her mother did, and that really convinced her mother that she might be doing the right thing. So I like seeing that, because honestly, again, it might be good for her not to go to college. It might be because some people don't go to college and it's just not for her. If it's not for her, it's not for her. You can't force her to do something she does not want to do. It's that simple. So, Hannah fills Spencer and Arya in on her meeting with Holbrooke, and she explains there's no way that Holbrooke was helping Allie. Spencer and Hannah think that Mike is the guy who has been helping Allie, and Arya says it is not possible, and says that Mike won't visit Allie again because she told him not to. And at the very end, we see that Mike is doing just that, signing into the prison to see Allie, and then the episode ends with someone dressed in black going through Mona's room, and that's how the episode ends. And oh my god, guys, there's so much to talk about. As I said, this officially proves that Mike is against Allie. Mike is part of this whole thing with Mona. Again, I feel like Mona's whole thing was staged. I do think that she was legitimately killed, but I think she was only killed to frame Allie. That was her whole mission, was to frame Allie. That's why she did it, and that's what she got out of it, is that she framed Allie, and Mike helped her with that. I think that's really what's going on there, and I think Holbrooke is on that as well because he wants to get his revenge on Allie. That's what I think is going on there. Spencer and I want to go to college. I really like her and Jonny. Honestly, I want her and Jonny to get together. I know it's weird, but I like her and Jonny. I really do. I know Jonny's so much older than her, but I really like them more than her and Toby, because it really seems like her and Toby need a break. It really does. Her and Toby, they're not in the best position right now, and they definitely need a break. Spencer, as I said, Spencer not going to college, I like seeing as well. Emily moving on from Paige, I was very happy to see. I'm interested in seeing how her and Tahlia's relationship is going to be. That's something I'm definitely looking forward to. Arya definitely needs to take in consideration what's going on with Mike, because it's going to end up, she's probably going to end up, something bad's going to happen to Arya, definitely. And definitely, I think by the end of the season, we're going to get that whole trial thing with Allie. The liars are going to realize that they were played and that they were completely wrong, and it's not going to end well for any of them. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys saw of this episode. Overall, guys, by far the best episode of the season. I absolutely loved it. So much information was given to us in this episode. My theories were changed, and I love that when Pretty Little Liars does that, because everything I thought about is now out the window. I don't think that Bethany on is A. I think that Mona was A, and now Mike is A, and Holbrooke is helping him. I think that's what's going on. Bethany maybe might be in on it, but I don't really think she's in on it. I don't think she really is a part of it. Cece, again, I think could be a part of it, but I don't really know either. But that's also, how is Allie's blood in that warehouse? I don't think it's Allie's blood. I think it's either Cece or Bethany on. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Justified. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.